Question B requires us to reconstruct the accounts receivable account, and this is all the information we've got. So we've got a business here, Slumber City, and they're preparing a 12-month budget, and it's going to be for 2023. So these are all estimates for the year ending 2023 of things that we think will happen. And then we've got some account balances, and we've got the actual balances at the beginning of 2023 and some estimated balances at the end. And the final thing we're told is the bank balance at the end of December 2023 is expected or estimated to be 28,500 credit. So we always want to look at the question and then use that to pull in the information. And in this case, the question is reconstruct the accounts receivable ledger to determine the cash collected from accounts receivable for 2023. Dates are not required. So to do this, we need to know there's accounts receivable and there's its ledger, and we need to know what sort of account it is. It's an asset. So that must mean it goes up on the debit side and it goes down on the credit side. And then we need to remember everything that could go in this ledger. So the first thing is there will always be an opening balance on the debit side, and then there'll be a closing balance on the credit side. What else? We need to know what could make it go up. So the only thing in our course that could make accounts receivable go up will be credit sales and the GST that we charge to our customers. The only thing that will make it go down, there's several things that will make it go down. We've got receipts from accounts receivable, so when they pay us back. We've got discount expenses, so we give them a discount for early payment. We've got when they bring inventory back and get a sales return, credit and their GST back. And lastly, when we dip into that allowance for doubtful debts, when we actually declare someone a bad debt, it comes out of here and the GST. So rather than trying to remember everything in the question, now we've got our map, we just go and find what we need. And the first thing we need to realize is it says, you're going to need to determine the cash collected from accounts receivable. So that's going to be this one here. So what that means is you need to figure it out, but they're not going to give it to you. That's going to be X. We're going to call that X and solve for that number. So to do that, we just drag in the info in the order it's presented. So going from the top of the question, the first thing what we were told were credit sales for the year ending 2023 are expected to be 630,000 plus GST. So now we have this number here. So if we add in GST to that, we'll get $693,000, and our reference will be credit sales / GST clearing. Let's keep going through our information. The next thing we're told is discount expenses. That will be 2% of the credit sales plus GST, and that is something here. It says we've got to put discount expenses in. So we need to get our calculators and we need to get 693,000 and we need to times that by 2%, and when we do that, we'll get 13,860. Next thing is we're expecting some wages paid. That doesn't go in this ledger. Inventory write down doesn't go in there either. Cost of sales, no. The sales go in here, but not the cost of sales. They go in inventory, which we've already done in the previous question. Other expenses paid, no. And it doesn't say what they are, but yeah, so we don't, we can't put in something that we have absolutely no information for it. And then we've got depreciation, which doesn't go in here. So we're done with all that info. Now the next bit of info we were given were these account balances. And the first one was accounts payable, so we don't need that. It's this one here. So on the 1st of January 2023, the balance actually is 80,000. That will be my opening balance. And at the end of December 2023, I expect the balance to be 75,000. So that will be my closing balance. So now I have everything I need. So these two items here weren't there, sales returns and allowance for doubtful debts. So I'm going to get rid of them. Here my reference would be bank, and I'm going to write X just because I don't know what it is yet. And I've got to solve for X. So how do we do it? Well, we've got to add up one side or the other. I cannot add up this side because X is there. So I'm just going to add up these two numbers and write the total there. So it's 773,000. Then on the same line on the other side, I write that number there too. And then I subtract away all the other numbers on this side. So in this case, I'm going to get my calculator and do 773,000 minus 75,000 minus 13,860, and I'm going to get 684,140, and now I have X. So the marks here, I gave 1 mark for the opening and closing balances, 1 mark for a debit to credit sales and GST here, 1 mark for the credit to discount expense, and then 2 marks therefore for this. Therefore, if you do get one of these other ones wrong, you still get your 2 marks here, because whatever number you get then becomes a consequential error.